Nobody is, but nobody is still
Nobody knows.
I don't know
the
what's
trouble
happening.
Hello.
Hello. It's Halloween time.
Oh,
Yeah,
brought
I
Gandalf.
just, like,
Gandalf.
I put Gandalf's hat on
Smeagol back.
Smeagol's.
Uh,
That was part of the decluttering that I was doing. I was like, I'm gonna move the hat onto Smeag's. Hello, Jack. Welcome to the universe of horrors.
universe of horrors, universe. It's like a little shop thing. Ignore me.
You know what? I've never seen Little Shop of Horrors.
Neither have I. I just know all the songs.
Okay.
That's funny.
All right. Oh, you know what? Oh, shoot. You know what? I gotta fix your.
Katie and Adam are here.
Well,
Hi,
it's
Katie and
fine.
Adam and Jack.
I guess the Skype controls will just be visible. They went to a pumpkin patch this morning. They had a little pumpkin patch date, and they saw some pigs and this wild this sheep that had some crazy horns on it.
Hey, your mom is here.
And my mom's here. Hi,
See,
Mom.
I wouldn't be able to go to the pumpkin patch because, well, you know, they probably had goats.
Yeah.
I don't like goats.
I know. You don't have to go near the goats.
I don't like. Well, they're mean.
Okay, say ghost goat 5 times fast.
Ghost goat, ghost goat, ghost goat,
No,
ghost
don't.
goat, ghost
You're
goat.
too good at it. You're too good at it. Stop it.
Ooh, Mom's got her Earl Grey with lavender. I've been meaning to buy that. All right. Here's what the plan is, everybody. I'm gonna start the show, and then we'll take just a slight edit break, and I'm gonna make us go back to color.
Goats are mean. Goats are mean. They headbutt you. They try to kick you.
My mom has goat experience.
The
so-
only great thing about goats, if you scare them, they fall over.
That makes me kind of happy.
It's funny.
Katie confirms.
And they got
she's
evil
goats.
eyes, which is great for like Satanists because it's perfect, and Halloween.
Well, Satanists are actually really nice people.
Satanists are really nice people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's.
How many
Anyway.
Satanists have you met?
Well, you know, they're like
actually-
for abortion rights.
Actually,
and...
okay, we didn't actually meet. We went to PetSmart one time, and
One ghost meets Satanists.
yeah, Liz was wearing
Oh, my Hail Satan
Hail
mask?
Satan, and the lady at the checkout was like, "My sister's a Satanist."
And we were
Oh.
like,
I was like, "All right,
All
well,
right.
that's
Cool
cool."
story.
pygmy goats are like nice dogs.
No,
They're like
mean
Jackie.
dogs.
They're like Jackie.
Little Jackie dogs.
Jackie's
Little
little
Jackie
pygmy
goats.
goat.
Jackie
All
goats.
right. Jack made a chocolate orange latte. Oh, I could use some
Ooh.
caffeine just to perk my eyes up over that. I'll tell everybody, Mike, you can't see it. Mike has red contacts in. I spent 10 minutes trying to put red contacts in, and it did not. First, I learned do it before putting on eye makeup because I had to redo all my eye makeup. But it was not happening, and I ran out of time and gave up. so hopefully for Halloween
your
I can get
brain
them
was
in.
protecting your eyeballs.
Yeah, it was not.
So
Not happening. All right, Brandon, give me a count to start this show and get us on track.
And in 5, 4.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cosmos with Cosmos High in the Sky for October 2022. I am Vampire Marie Curie.
I am a vampire Einstein.
And I'm Brandon.
So welcome, everyone, to another episode.
I really hope nobody in Hawaii is watching this right now.
All right,
What's
edit
that?
break while I make us color again. All right, that was
Wait.
supposed to be black and white.
Why's that?
What is he being offensive
I
to
think you
Hawaiians
know.
right now?
No, I don't, actually, because they gave me this.
All
I
right.
got this at the airport. I'm confused now. Is this not good? Should I take this off? I don't know what to do.
No,
You're
no,
fine,
wear it.
you're fine.
No.
Brandon's
No,
not
it's
in
good.
Hawaii anymore. Anyway,
No, Brandon is not in Hawaii anymore. No, he was.
Oh.
He was.
and
I
welcome,
got back
Federico.
6 a.m. yesterday. Hey, Federico.
I don't know what you guys do in Italy for Halloween,
Oh,
but in
Federico's
America
here.
we get a little ridiculous with our stuff. Anyway, Welcome everybody again to another episode of Cosmos with Cosmos, and of course we're going to be doing our spooky drinks. Brandon, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a galactic calamity.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Nice.
Right? Isn't that a cool name?
Yeah.
It's just like an espresso White Russian. So
Okay.
it's a White Russian with espresso beans, which amplifies the flavor and smell. It's quite nice.
Nice. Einstein, what are we drinking?
We're drinking a vampire kiss. It's so hard to say with these teeth.
Vampire kiss.
A vampire
You've
kiss.
had those teeth for how long now? How long have you been dead? You should be used to them.
I should be since 1952, 53, something like that. I should be 70 years,
7 years? Yeah, I mean,
but
So-
it has,
maybe give it 150 and you'll be all right.
yeah, it has in it has cherry vodka, and it has raspberry liqueur, yeah, cranberry
did you use
juice,
the Chambord one?
yeah, it has cranberry juice, lemon juice, and grenadine. And when we do it for actual Halloween, because we're gonna have these drinks as we give candy to the kid, because we're role models. That's what we are. We're gonna have dry ice in it, and so it's going to be
Cool.
having
Very spook.
have smoke come out
It's
of
gonna
it.
be fun. All right. Well, in the meantime, everybody follow us on
All the things.
at
All
Drinking
the
Cosmos on Twitter and Cosmos with Cosmos everywhere else. Of course, check out the great art of Katie Davison, Wildixia, on Etsy, Wildixia. And Ron, MrProctorShow.com. And if you're in Jack's neck of the woods, the Rolling Bluffs Planetarium. You can check that out if you're in the Midwest.
Now, really quick. Mike is very clearly Vampire Einstein. Who is Liz supposed to be?
I already said who I was.
I wasn't paying attention. You don't want to do that.
Oh my
I
God.
introduced myself as Vampire Marie Curie.
I missed.
Jesus.
I was reading, but let me just say, today, 23rd, is the anniversary of her winning her first Nobel Prize.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
Did she win when she was alive?
yeah, you
Oh
have
yeah,
to
you
be
have
alive.
to be alive. That's
Oh,
right.
gotta be alive.
Before I died of radiation
So
poisoning.
can vampires win Nobel Prizes then, since they're undead?
Hell yeah,
So
we
why
can.
not?
Hell yeah,
Okay.
we could. Yeah,
You died. You can't- Okay.
we get all the awards.
Jack says don't use a metal straw with dry ice. Luckily, our straws are glass because these are.
They'll probably shatter.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Well, we have plastic ones, I guess. All right, we have some drinking rules. If you hear any dogs barking, take a drink. And if we make any Lord of the Rings or Star Wars references, it is getting hard to talk with these teeth. Take a drink.
Yeah, and if you know how to use a slide rule, take a drink. So
No one's drinking then.
they
You
might.
don't even know how to use the slide rule.
I looked it up. I am
You
still
tried to figure it
confused.
out.
I don't know how.
We got to the moon on slide rules.
There
and duct
were
tape,
some
folks.
smart motherfuckers at NASA that
Figure
got
out.
us to the moon when he used to do this thing.
All right. Let's get to it. This is a
Oh.
high.
Jack knows how to use a slide rule.
Oh, see, Jack, you're the smartest one of us all then.
Yeah.
All right, let's get high in the sky, everybody, for October. That's what we're doing. Of course, nighttime sky. Go out at night, look up, see what you can find out there. Use handy app tools that can help you figure out what you're looking at, like Google Sky Maps or whatever, Apple's Star Maps. I don't know what the Apple version
Or
is
go
called.
or go to your local planetarium and check out what they're saying, and you can see it then too.
Unless you're in Phoenix. Anyway, they go to Mesa. All right, so we have some planets that are hanging out up there in the evening sky. Basically, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Oh my!
Oh.
Saturn is in Capricorn. Means nothing for your personal life.
Another goat that we have to
It is
deal
a
with.
goat. It is a goat.
goat.
A sea
What?
goat.
A
Friggin'
sea goat.
Does it
sea
count?
goat.
It's a half goat. It's
Does
a
it
half
count?
goat.
Yeah. Does it count as a goat if it's a sea goat?
What?
Does it count as a goat?
Yeah, because it's got the eyes.
It's got okay.
And it's got the
Okay.
head, so it's
Okay.
got the mentality.
Okay.
All right, so Saturn's hanging out in Capricorn. I was gonna say Capricornius for some reason, but Capricorn, a mergoat. I like mergoat.
A mergoat.
Mergoats.
All right.
I like that. I
Oh.
don't know why I never thought of that before. Frederico knows how to use a slide ruler too.
This is my dad's.
Anyway.
I had to have them ship it to me.
That's kind of cool, though.
All for this costume.
All for this bit.
Anyway, so Saturn, it's visible through most of the evening, all month. I gotta be careful.
Did you lose it?
Here. No, we're good. It sets around 1 a.m. later in October, so, around where we are now. But you'll be able to spot it in Capricorn. It'll be fairly bright. However, brighter than Saturn in the sky is good old Jupiter. Jupiter, of course, second or brightest object next to the moon in the nighttime sky. And it's going to be visible all evening, and it is near the square of Pegasus.
Oh, nice.
Square.
Pegasus
is such a square.
Later. It's so square. A square
But not
horse.
a zodiac constellation.
Not a zodiac constellation, no. So it's just below it. So Pegasus is a little bit above the ecliptic, the path of the sun across the sky, the plane of our solar system, which all the planets, of course, travel along the elliptic, all being on the same plane.
So it's getting pretty close to Andromeda. No, wait a minute. Andromeda's not a zodiac either.
No.
All right.
Only the zodiac signs are zodiac
Only the
constellations.
zodiac
I don't know if
signs,
anybody's
yes.
been like, I'm an Andromeda.
That'd be cool.
And lastly, we also have the god of war, Mars. Named such because it's red, and so ancient people were like, hey, it's covered in blood.
Makes sense.
Clearly.
Makes sense,
Makes
right?
sense.
Covered in rot and blood.
Covered scarlet rot. And it's hanging out in the middle of Taurus the bull.
Oh, nice.
All right. And Taurus can be found by this cluster of stars that looks like the letter V in the sky that is highlighted by a bright orangey red star. Aldebaran is the eye of the bull. And so Mars is in the body of the bull. So look for the next
Heading
brightest.
towards the eye.
Yeah, heading towards the eye. So look for the next brightest red object in Taurus, and aside from Aldebaran, and that.
What about Mercury?
Mars.
Mercury is near and dear to my heart. I used it to prove general relativity.
Yeah, Mercury's too low on the horizon. You're really not going
Damn it.
to see it anywhere. There was like a little bit where it came up a little bit higher. We have mountains on our horizon, so it wasn't really
I should have
visible
picked
for
a
us.
better planet.
But now it's kind of dropping back down in
I
altitude.
should have picked a better planet.
It's the
prove.
closest planet to the sun, and so it doesn't travel far from the sun from our perspective in the sky, basically. So, thanks.
I'd like
for
to stay
that.
cozy and warm.
Just to get a little, you're
I'm losing hair.
you're dead, so I mean you got to drink more blood to really get those nutrients
All
you
right.
need to
I will drink more.
keep your
more
hair.
blood.
Since it is October, there is something in the sky during October that is spooky, and that's the moon. Everybody's scared of the moon. Werewolves. All that shit.
To hell with werewolves. Us vampires, we don't get along with those werewolves. We don't. Have you seen the documentary?
I don't know why
What We
there's
Do in
such
the
a
Shadows?
vampire werewolf.
I thought you were going to go for Twilight.
No, we don't speak of
the
such.
documentary Twilight.
We don't speak of such things in this.
No,
in
because
this
we don't
household.
sparkle.
No, vampires don't fucking sparkle. Atrocity, I say. Anyway, so we don't know why we hate werewolves.
I you know what? I don't.
It's just
but-
in your blood.
But when I went through vampire initiation, they
Uh-huh.
told me I had to hate werewolves.
I think
I think
vampires
this is
might just be
vampire propaganda.
But us vampires, we are at the top of the
food
universe
chain?
monster pyramid thing. Food chain.
I mean, yeah, werewolves are only active one night a month.
Yeah.
But
We're
we
the
can't
elegant
come out
ones,
during the
and they're
daytime.
just... I don't know.
Yeah, we don't get all hairy and like
What?
dog-like. I don't know. Anyway, so on October 26th is a new moon. Halloween will not bring a full moon. It will be a waxing crescent that's getting close to a first quarter moon. However, there will be a full moon on November 7th, November 8th, and also a lunar eclipse to go with it.
What's the November 8th moon called?
Oh, I meant to look up why it's called this, and I got distracted. But the November 8th full moon is called the full beaver moon.
Wow. I'm not mad, but why?
I don't know. I meant to look it up to find out why it was a full beaver moon. But everybody get ready because some full beavers are coming out.
You know what?
November 8th.
I did not know that. I don't keep up with these little names that we give to full moons.
Yeah.
Full beaver moon.
Werewolves in London, an American Werewolf in London. That is a really good. That's a really good horror movie. So that full moon comes with a lunar eclipse. It will be visible for us here in North America, although if you are in the western side of North America, you will see the full eclipse. If you are in Jack's neck of the woods, which is, why do I always forget what state you live in, Jack? Nebraska?
Iowa / Nebraska.
Basically the middle of the U.S. eastward, you get more of a partial. We will see the full eclipse here in Ogden at 1 a.m.
Which means we will not.
Yeah.
So good luck, everybody.
And of course, clouds and all that. But if you want to,
Iowa.
If you want to, Iowa, there we go. If you want to stay up late and check out the lunar eclipse, then go for it.
That's just 2 a.m. for Jack.
And if the
midnight for your parents and
the
Katie.
full lunar eclipse, the moon turns blood red. Okay.
But you can't eat it, as
You can't
Vampire
eat it.
Cookie Monster will tell you.
You can't. You got to take out off the red wax first, and then you can eat it.
Oh.
Well, it starts around midnight for you guys in the Pacific Northwest.
In the PNW. Also, now this is something that's already. Beaver moon means it is normally the latest in the season a beaver will start building a dam.
Full beaver moon.
Full beaver moon, everybody. Get the full beavs out. This is going on, something that is going on from October 2nd through November 7th. However, this has already technically peaked, but it is the Orionids meteor shower passing through the tail of Comet Halley. Shit burning up in our atmosphere, but in the late evening hours, 18 to 20 meteors per hour.
I've never called it Orionids, but that makes complete sense.
What did you call it?
What do you call it?
Orinids.
Well, it's Orionids.
Right, but like no one I've talked to has ever called it Orionids before. It's always been Orinids, so it's past. That makes complete sense.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it comes from Orion.
No, that makes sense. I just never put the pieces together. Interesting.
Are you, Jack, are you fucking with us? Yeah, no, well, you know what? That's okay, because I just recently, in my adult life, at 37 years old, figured out that SpongeBob was a sea sponge. So, there's that. All right. The main constellations to see. Right now, we are in fall. We're finally feeling fall.
Finally.
Oh, it's so nice. It's
We got
freezing
snow on
outside.
our mountains.
We got snow on the mountain again. And there are 4 fall constellations, although technically one of them is in the north, so it's not technically a fall constellation. It's a circumpolar constellation. But they begin to rise and stay up throughout...
Oh, you gotta love the chat.
The chat, which we don't feature really in the main podcast show, but for you guys listening on the podcast, if the beaver waits any longer, it gets too damn bushy, and that is the joke of the full beaver moon. It's a 70s beaver. Anyway.
That's great.
The constellations, the primary fall constellations are Pegasus, Perseus, Andromeda, and then to go along with Andromeda, her mother, Cassiopeia.
Oh boy.
And these constellations are all fairly bright. Perseus is a little bit harder to make out without a little assistance, but Pegasus, basically 4 bright stars make a big square in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the body of Pegasus, the flying horse, whom, of course, Perseus uses to save the Princess Andromeda from being eaten by the sea monster, the Kraken, or Cepheus in Greek mythology.
Familiar.
No, it's the first time you've heard it. I'm sure. I'm sure this is the first time you've heard about the story.
Maybe so.
We've never talked about it
Maybe
before.
so.
We've never told it before. We've never.
No.
No. And
although it's also funny with these constellations, all their nicknames can be the same with Cassie, Andy, Percy, and Peggy. Makes me kind of happy.
Oh, that could be a fun new like sitcom or something. You know, just like set in like modern times, and you got anyway. All right. So Perseus and Andromeda, they're both a little bit hard to spot. Star map will really help you out, but Cassiopeia more towards the north, and it looks like a W in the sky.
Squiggly.
Yes, a squiggle. It's also never mind. I'm not going to say that. Well, no one's going to have access to my phone. It's my unlock design on my phone is Cassiopeia.
Anybody want Liz's phone? Just message me.
Jack says he had a student draw Perseus in a traditional Captain Morgan stance, and since then it is so much easier to spot. Oh, that's a good idea.
That's been a good one to say.
That's okay. I've never heard that before. So, okay, that's cool. I like that.
Although it's probably that last ran like 5-7 years ago, so I think it's coming out of vogue for that generation now.
I don't know what's in and what's out in any generation.
All I know is that Gucci fam is always in.
I don't even know what that is. I've heard it, and I don't know what it is. Sorry, I needed some blood. Okay. Does anybody want to highlight anything else that's high in the sky?
No, let's keep going.
All right. Into some astronomy news before we get to the spooky shit.
This is the good stuff right here.
So here, I was going to say, here's a nice little segue in that matter. So recently, NASA put together a committee to investigate unidentified flying objects, and they actually consist of like legitimate scientists and investigators too. So that'll be interesting to see what happens.
I mean, it's kind of about time that there is like something that is doing that, because I mean,
well, the Air Force did it right with Project Blue Book.
That's the Air Force.
Yeah, I'm not saying they invited a bunch of actual scientists and stuff, but they may have. I don't know what they did, but they had a whole TV show about Project Blue Book. Yeah,
well, I think this is good, because it can't have everybody just think anything that's unidentified as a flying object be an alien. You know, it's...
Although that is Occam's razor. If you can't explain it, it's probably an alien.
It's probably aliens. Yeah, right. Pyramids, aliens. No.
I don't. I have questions though. If it's an alien, I have questions. Like
we'll revisit this later on in the episode.
I feel like there would be. All right, so we have a little bit of a science fight going on, a little debate happening over the god of war, Mars. There has been an idea, a hypothesis that Mars has liquid water like lake or deposits of liquid water underneath its
surface.
A surface, and this is based on that the Mars Express probe, it had seen bright radar reflections that look different than the reflections that are caused by ice, and so essentially, scientists did their math and did their things and were like, okay, this could be, deposits of liquid water that are there. And we have discovered here on Earth over 400 subglacial lakes under Antarctica. That's teeming with bacteria. So the thought of Mars having liquid water, areas of liquid water underneath its surface, also means there could be maybe some bacteria on Mars that's living in those subsurface lakes or whatnot.
But the Bible told me that there's no life elsewhere.
I need to start checking off how many times we discover water on Mars per year.
All the time.
Like, it's constant. I need to start keeping track of this.
You can make it a drinking game.
So,
yes. During the show, because we'll discover water 3 times while we're giving the show.
So essentially, like, people who are for this are saying, okay, well, the water is going to be really salinated, so it's really salty. In order to be liquid with the extremely cold temperatures that are on Mars and underneath the surface of Mars, and then other scientists are like, it's just too damn cold. Whether it has a lot of salt or not, it's just too damn cold for there to be.
The temperature is too damn cold.
It's too damn cold for there to be anything liquid. And so, there's been recent studies and everybody's kind of going back and forth about it. But at the end of the day, no one really knows until we go there and drill a hole to find out.
We have to be careful, though, lest we drill too deep. And too creepily.
Jesus. Yep. I knew this is why I remembered to add the graphic, because I knew there was going to be some drinking rules broken here. On a different note, more maybe mystical, magical, beautiful note, the James Webb Space Telescope has captured a beautiful image of the pillars of creation.
Beautiful undersells it.
A
My
part
goodness.
of the Eagle
Yeah,
Nebula.
it really does.
This image, Google it, find it. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, it was amazing with Hubble. With Webb, though, we can see through the gas and dust that's like blocking the star formation that's occurring, and we can now see these little red stars that are newly born inside the nebula. And what I found interesting was that since its birth, the Eagle Nebula, since it formed, the Eagle Nebula has helped hatch, I'm stealing this from the article because it was fun, more than 8,000 stars.
Nice.
8,000 stars have come from the Eagle Nebula so far, which doesn't seem like actually a lot, but that's still a lot of stars.
It's a lot of stars, and it's still
churning. It's still churning.
I love the idea that 8,000 stars isn't that many. When holy shit balls.
I know. It's a lot. It's not that many, but it's a lot at the same time.
Yes.
So definitely check out that image. It is... That's all I can say.
There are no words. It's just amazing. And before you look at it, though...
look at the Hubble one.
Look at the Hubble one. Just Google Pillars of Creation. And
well, they have the comparison images that show.
Yeah, and we're friends with the guy who took the Hubble picture.
I was gonna say, it just reminds me of corn dogs.
Jeff Hessner. Corn dogs all the way down. That episode is still up. Check that out. Piggybacking on our last episode, where we took a deep dive into Uranus, astronomers have a new theory. Or I should say hypothesis, I suppose, for why Uranus spins on its side, why it's tilted completely sideways. This Melaine Salenfest at the Paris Observatory and colleagues basically are proposing that Uranus once had a large ancient satellite, so it had a big moon in the past, that with how it interacted gravitationally with the planet's own rotation, basically slowly over time flipped it over on its side, and that moon has moved off and drifted away. Our moon is moving away from us at a slow rate. Eventually the Earth won't have a moon, and so they think that this large satellite has caused this tippage.
I'd be interested to hear more about that because, of course, the moon is moving away from the Earth. But the time it will take for the moon to fully leave the Earth, the sun will have swallowed us.
Well, yeah,
so it
it's
takes
a long
just
time.
a huge amount of time. So I'm curious to hear more about that.
So it says, the article that I found said that a satellite just 1,000th the mass of Uranus could have tilted the planet as it migrated away from over a distance of about 10 times the radius of Uranus.
But 1,000th is still a lot of mass.
But
a lot of mass,
basically what astronomers need to kind of shed more light on this, or to kind of explore this hypothesis more, is a better understanding of of Uranus's current moons and their migration and other properties.
So you know what we need to do? We need to send a mission to Uranus.
We need to head right into Uranus. I'm just going to stare at the camera. Oh, I broke my stare. All right. Okay. Now, here's a piece of news I almost forgot to include, but it's super cool as a history buff.
Super cool. Love it.
A lost star catalog.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about
from
this.
Hipparchus has been found. Hipparchus is an ancient Greek astronomer. He did the first catalog of stars, and the majority of his work has been lost to history, essentially. And he had descriptions and coordinates of over 850 naked eye stars in the northern sky. So there are these dudes in Europe that they're these dudes. Peter Williams of Cambridge University and Victor Gissenberg and Emmanuel Zing of the Sorbonne in Paris. They were studying the Codex Clemens. I'm sorry, Federico. Clemachi Rescriptus. It's a 9th or 10th century manuscript from the St. Catherine's Monastery on the Sinai Peninsula of Egypt. Currently, the Bible Museum in Washington D.C. Has this manuscript. And basically what they did was they had looked at this manuscript in different wavelengths of light, like UV. Because what people would do in the past, like scribes, is they would basically scrape off writings in order to reuse parchment.
Right.
So they'd be like, we don't need this ancient star catalog, for example, and they would scrape it off.
I can barely open files on Windows XP. That's impressive.
So they wanted to reuse parchment, and so they would scrape off old texts. And so using different wavelengths of light, you can actually see those layers of text that had been scraped off. And what they discovered using UV is that there's like an almost indiscernible print of an older text there that basically it provides information on the constellation Corona Borealis, the Northern Crown, and has coordinates that actually line up to the time when Hipparchus was around. Because the Earth wobbles on its axis, there's precession, so the stars have changed their positions over time, but the coordinates described here line up to when how Hipparchus would have seen the stars, their locations then, and so it's believed that this is a piece of a long-lost star catalog of Hipparchus, which is super cool. Did you blow your nose before the show, Brandon, like you said? I think you're muted.
I was thinking the same thing.
I muted myself for a reason. Like, oh God, I messed up.
You can always mute yourself.
Yeah, and go blow your nose. So I just think this is really cool. And the fact that, first of all, how dare they scrape off shit to reuse parchment? Like, blasphemous. No one's paying attention. It's fine. Let's all watch him. He can't hear us. So let's all stare and watch him. When will he return? I want to know what Funko Pop he has on his counter, actually.
Oh, well, we should ask him.
Yeah, when he comes back.
Yeah, what Funkos he's got. He's got some down at the bottom right, too.
I don't see any on the bottom right. Anyway. Guy's taking a long time to blow his nose. How many layers? Do they say how many layers? I don't know how many layers. It was actually, I think, a couple of layers. It had been reused, I think, a couple of times. But I think that's really neat. And they've done similar things with, like, I know, like, Da Vinci works. They've looked at, haven't they looked at, like, the Mona Lisa under different wavelengths of light? Or there was something where they found, like, an old Da Vinci painting that had been covered up or something had been done to it. But anyway, I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
That they found that.
What Funkos do you have?
What's on your counter?
Oh, so that was a gift that my sister got me for my birthday that I just saw her the other week. It's the Green Ranger, but it was signed by him.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
but you also have two
cool.
behind you, right? On your bookshelf? Or
those are baseballs. Those are baseballs.
Those are baseballs.
Oh, those baseballs?
Those are baseballs.
All right. Well, since you don't like Funkos, I'll take it.
No, it's signed by the Green Ranger. You don't give that shit
It's
up.
signed by the Green Ranger. Well, it's funny because I saw like, oh, I don't really like Funkos, but I'll be excited because it's a gift, and I realized, oh shit, it's signed. This is super cool.
All right. So last bit of astronomy news before we get to some spooky shit. We have our in memoriam. Section. And this episode's in memoriam is for astronaut Jim McDivitt. He was the commander of NASA's first spacewalk. He died at age 93. He had a life of good life of accomplishment in NASA. He completed the first spacewalk during the Gemini 4 mission. He actually passed up on a moon landing to become program manager for the 5 Apollo missions.
Okay.
That's just a badass move. Like, you know what? Nah, somebody else can walk on the moon. Damn.
Yeah, I'll just be in charge of this shit. Like, that's really cool. He retired from NASA in September of 1972. He was the first of only a handful of American astronauts to serve as commander on their very first mission, and so he was asked by the NASA oral historian why he thought this was, and his response, which I show, he sounds like he is kind of a fun guy. He says, "Well, I was the best looking astronaut there was, so they picked me on looks."
That's just kind of their 60s NASA
He said with a wry smile. So, and interestingly, and I didn't include this in our spooky section, but him and Ed White, Ed White actually did the spacewalk, and it was McDivitt who was the commander and in charge over it. But they both saw a weird object out in space. They saw an unusual UFO. It looked like a beer can with a straw coming out of it that was spinning rapidly. And they tried to take pictures of it, but the pictures didn't come out very well and didn't really show anything. But they claim they saw something weird.
This was solved recently, I believe. It was part of, I don't know, I think the second or third stage. It came off a little bit and stayed near the spacecraft.
Okay, well.
But yes, you're right. It was spooky.
Yeah. So they saw something spooky.
I'm sorry I ruined your spookiness.
It's okay. Speaking of spookies, let's get spooky. All right. Now,
it's getting spooky.
There are a surprising amount of astronauts that claim to have seen or heard weird things while being out in space.
Oh, yeah.
From snakes, space snakes, like white ephemeral snakes.
Oh, okay.
In space, there have been astronauts that have heard knocking on shuttles and things, and they couldn't figure out where the knocking was coming from. There's been astronauts on the moon that have heard, and I think on the shuttles and stuff that have heard like music, and people have explained it as being like radio interference or whatever, but they've heard like weird musical tones.
Space sirens.
So space, I think, is just inherently creepy. It's a vacuum. It's a void. A sound can't travel through it. It's very unknown. It's very deadly. And so it's a lot of inky blackness of nothing because everything is so spread out. And so there's a wide range that the imagination can go through in terms of space and us making it terrifying.
Right.
So let's start our spookiness with a star, but not just any star. This star is the demon star, Algol.
Right.
Algol?
Algol.
Oh, not the former vice president.
Not Al Gore. Algol. It's Arabic for head of the ghoul. Oh, you know what it is? So it's Ra's al Ghul, which is from Batman, The Dark Knight. Ra's al Ghul. Liam Neeson's character.
Of the ghoul.
Yeah, okay, head of the ghoul. And so what made it kind of spooky to ancient people is that its brightness changes because it's a binary star system. And so as one star eclipses the other, the brightness changes, and it's like a steady kind
we
of
call them
period.
variable stars.
Yeah, it's a variable star, steady period of change.
Isn't it something like over 5 days or something?
Yeah, I didn't write down what the actual period was,
I think
but
it's like
pretty
5 or 6 days.
standard.
It is so hard to talk. I'm so glad I'm not talking at all.
It is currently it's in the constellation of Perseus, the brightest star in Perseus. It is the head of, it is the eye of Medusa, of which Perseus is carrying the head of.
As one does.
He's slain Medusa in order to save Cassiopeia to turn the sea monster to stone using Medusa's head. That sort of thing.
There's a great documentary called Clash of the Titans.
2 documentaries, actually. They made an updated version.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Oh my God, pay attention. Get in the show, man.
The Phoenix Suns lost.
Okay. No, I'm responding to Jack, and
Okay.
I just lost all the text. So I'm going to take a quick second here to respond to him. So, which Green Ranger? I was going on a tangent of a text. So it's Tommy, the original Green Ranger, who eventually turned into the White Ranger, who had the flute. And Tommy, at this point, wrongly took over leadership duties for Jason, who was the original Red Ranger.
That would be really funny.
This is when I watched Power Rangers.
Because you see, the original Red Ranger, he earned the trust of the Rangers and Zordon, voiced by Bryan Cranston, by the way.
I was really annoyed that that the girl Rangers had to be pink and yellow.
Well, for racist reasons.
Sexist reasons.
Sexist reasons, yeah.
It was all racist and sexist.
Okay.
But I wasn't done ranting.
Back to Medusa is a pretty badass, and Medusa, by the way, my mom had commented in chat, for those of you listening, that Medusa is a badass. Medusa actually gets a bad rap. She was like raped, basically. She was like what was she? She was Artemis was she was like one of Artemis's, or I don't know, but she was raped, and then she got turned into a monster, and so she is understandably angry and pissed off, because she got shit on, basically.
Yep.
And anyway, off topic. Back to the main story. Algol, head of the ghoul. The Egyptians have a different take from the Greek version of being part of Medusa's head. So the Egyptian calendar is based on star patterns, and
What?
I forgot, because we have Brandon on Skype, so the
Blame it on Brandon.
apparently we're frozen.
We blame
though.
you for everything.
Apparently we're frozen. Okay, well, hopefully it'll come back. I don't know. I'm trying to see what those notifications were. Oh, it got reconnected. Okay, so OBS had a little bit of an issue. So hopefully we're back now. We'll find out. Brandon, talk to chat. Okay, we're back. All right.
I can keep going about Tommy.
Nope.
No. All right. Brandon has dibs on our next spooky story, which involves
He can do the next stories, period.
Ophiuchus.
All of them. Oh, that was...
Okay.
Ophiuchus. So go take it away, Brandon, with
That's a
Ophiuchus.
tricky story, though.
This is one of the other ones where I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Ophiuchus. It's a good one, so I'm going to go with that.
Ophiuchus.
I've always said Ophiuchus.
I don't know. I say things how they're spelled.
So Ophiuchus, according to the Greeks, he was a normal guy, but he was a doctor, a healer, you could say at the time.
Okay.
And he loved healing his people. You know, you got a cut, you go to Ophiuchus, bandage you up, and solve all these ailments. But like any good doctor, he wanted to constantly solve the next, issue. Solve the next cancer, solve anything else. But then he figured out, why not just solve death itself? Because that's a brilliant idea. Put myself out of business. Sounds great.
We've solved death.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
That's
We're
right, because
good.
they're vampires.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
We can solve it for other people, too.
So he went down the path of trying to make humans immortal so they would no longer die. But of course, this threatens the well-being of the gods, because you make people immortal, what do people have to fear the gods about? So Zeus said, and threw him up in the sky. And hey, he's a constellation now. So there we go.
And an unofficial 13th zodiac.
The unofficial 13th constellation, yeah. And in the head of Ophiuchus, you can find Voyager 1. Fun fact.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
But that's kind of like almost a happy story.
That's not spooky.
It's not too spooky. because there are other stories that make him a little more spooky.
Mm-hmm.
This comes to the story of Aristostle, son of Troipus, an ancient king of Thessaly.
Oh, yes.
So
I'm
according
sorry. How did you pronounce it?
Which one?
The first one.
All of them.
See, I thought by speaking it quickly, no one would question me.
No, because it's fun to...
Aristostle.
All right.
All right, anyway, continue.
We'll go with that one. That's fine.
We're going to go with Aristostle. I'm already here.
Okay.
So, according to this story, Aristostle, he was leading a group of men into a grove of trees that was sacred to the god Demeter. This was Demeter's sacred grove. And he ordered his men to cut down the trees to expand his palace. But the men knew where they were at and said, no, that was a stupid thing to do. We're not going to cut down the trees of the gods.
Yeah.
So Aristotle himself took his axe and started cutting down these trees.
And my
to make
axe.
his palace bigger. And my axe. Take yourself a drink.
Bad move, boys. Bad move.
So he cut down all the sacred trees by himself. Well, Demeter, of course, watched this shit go down and was like, no, this is some bullshit. So one version of the story, she cursed Aristostle with a great hunger that can never be satisfied.
Uh-oh.
And yes, and so during the first feast in his new palace, this kind of a cursed palace at this point, he ate everything. Turkey legs, goat legs, grapes. I'm sure they had watermelons at that point. I don't know. That's
Did
a New
they?
World fruit.
I don't
I think that's
know.
a New World fruit.
I don't know the origins of watermelon.
He ate all the things. I was like, damn, I'm still hungry, which is how I feel when Liz cooks barbecue. I'm like, I still need more food. It's so good. So he sent 12 men out to constantly bring him wine and food, but still he was thirsty and still he was hungry. And the fact the more he ate, the hungrier he became.
Oof.
And finally, he did nothing but eat. He stopped serving his kingdom, stopped being a king, stopped being a dad, a husband, a friend, everything. So his family was forced to tell everyone else that he had gone abroad because he wasn't able to stop eating long enough to see visitors because he was just eating shit. So he ended up going to...
Sounds like an American problem.
Well, just like an American problem, he ended up going to his parents' house and ate everything there. And so he was eventually kicked out of the house, and he ended up just sitting at a crossroads begging anyone who passed for scraps. And finally, he ended up selling his daughter to slavery, which was an issue because his daughter ran.
Basically,
You know what?
my jerk keeps freezing. I don't know if I should.
What? Maybe Brandon should leave and come back.
Well, that
Or is that
doesn't
too
make
much of an
sense to. Okay, let me start. Streaming.
Do I need
again.
to? Do you think Xbox will be
Here we
off?
go.
at
Here we
this
go.
point?
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, no, you turn the Xbox off. Let's see. Excellent. It keeps saying the stream health is like excellent, and then it like
Oh, we're back on. We're back on. We're back on.
isn't. See from here. Okay, I
All
don't
right,
know.
so we're back on.
And we're down again. We're back
Okay.
on.
God damn it! I don't know.
I mean, are we still at least recording?
Yeah, we're still recording so that for the actual podcast
Okay.
episode.
Okay. So it looks like we're back on now. I'm not sure where we're at in relation to real time, but we're on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, they're probably on the normal delay.
Yeah, but we're getting a lot
That
of.
sounds right.
It looks like the internet is like. It says you're getting hot in there, Einstein.
You know why?
Who wore
Because
me
we
a
were
lab
talking
coat?
about the Demon Star and we didn't talk about Al Gore.
Uh-huh.
So the internet is punishing us because Al Gore is, of course, the father of the internet.
Yeah, he invented
All
it.
right. Well, for everybody listening, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. So I don't know. We're dealing with some bandwidth issues or whatever. But we record live for the fun of it, so we'll keep going for the actual podcast
But-
episode. So
And trust us, it was a great story, so you'll have to listen to the podcast
Yeah,
to
you
get
can
the rest
listen
of
to
it,
it.
apparently. Fabulous story.
and then you'll hear the notification sounds from the computer going, OBS isn't working very well.
All right.
All right. So it may drop out again, it may not. So we apologize for those issues, but.
All right. Well, what about Spooky Universe?
Anyway, Spooky Universe.
Yeah. Like. All right. So let's get down
You
to.
want to skip some of these tales?
So long story
Well,
short,
time.
the guy ended up eating himself.
Yeah, for those of you, the guy had to eat himself to finally feel satiated. And Matt? Are you
Who's Matt?
Who's Matt?
Who's
Jack?
All I know is that Google Fiber's legit.
I want to know who Matt is.
All
Matt
right. Well,
Coughlin.
we don't have Google Fiber. We have Comcast. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
that's
just
what's-
thinking time wise.
Oh well, you know what? It's fine. Okay, let me pick one of these. Let's see. Okay. All right. I think this one's fun. This is a Chinese story based off a Chinese constellation. Basically, ancient China, they recognize 28 constellations in the night sky. And most of those are named off of like warriors. There's a northern constellation named CwC that was associated with the story of Poe Cao.
Dameron?
What?
Poe Dameron?
Poe Dameron. Poe Cao.
Is Zoobird related to Zool?
There is only Zool. He's the eldest son. Poe Cao is the eldest son of Wen Wang. And Wen Wang was taken prisoner by a cruel dictator named Chao. And so it was left to Poe to do everything he could to try and free his father. So first he tried to appeal to Chao by providing him with 10 beautiful concubines, as one does.
As one does, yeah.
Chariots, this a monkey, a magic carpet. A magic carpet?
But it doesn't fly.
And a magic carpet that would clear the head of any person who sat upon it, which sounds nice, actually.
Well, that's kind of nice, yeah. That
Yeah.
sounds fabulous.
However, one of the concubines ended up taking a liking to Poe. And Poe was like, no, I'm not into you. And she got upset by that, so she decided that she was going to get her revenge by telling very slanderous tales about him. And she accused him and his monkey of conspiring against the king when the monkey committed the unforgivable sin of stealing her candies.
Well, that's what they do. It's like the dates with Indiana Jones.
Unforgivable sin, stealing her candies. Now, Poe, he talked his way out of it, but the monkey had to die. And he decided to tell the king that, hey, this bitch is lying. She's full of conspiracy. Hey, she is no good. But Tachi was the king's favorite concubine. So that's not going to work out too well for Poe. Poe actually ended up hitting her because he was so mad at her. And so he was basically sentenced to be crucified. And as he died, pieces of his flesh were removed and served to his father, who had to eat them because refusing basically this hospitality of his host would be seen as a sign of contempt and grounds for execution. So Poe did not free his father. His father ended up having to basically eat him, but Poe was canonized and elevated to a place among the stars.
I don't know about you guys, but this episode's making me hungry.
It's like the bootleg version of Aladdin. Yes.
This is the all.
But where
Disney
the Sultan
version.
has to eat pieces of jasmine at the end of it. All right. Astronomy. Scary astronomy stuff. Scary astronomy tales.
Scary horrors.
You wanted to get to your section,
Well,
which is...
yeah, take off my glasses so I can see.
There you go.
My God.
I know, right?
Moving away from the fanciful tales of the night sky into the real scary, real astronomy.
Yeah, this actually is kind of a scary thing. So, we've said all the time that the universe is actively just trying to kill you. And so this is actually a great example of the universe trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Death by Supernova.
My God.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to go back in time. Your mom wants to know who makes this up, by the way. Drunk people.
People that didn't have Netflix for a long time.
And so let's go back in time, 360 million years.
Oh, that's going back.
But it's not that far.
I mean, in the scheme of things, no.
In what?
The scheme
Oh,
of things.
yeah, so.
There's a definition of things, but yes.
So there was a mass extinction where 75% of the life went extinct. It was at the end of the Devonian period.
I love this.
Yeah, and so astronomers have looked at the rocks, obviously, and in those rocks there are spores from plant life and stuff, and those spores are scorched with UV, so you can tell. So they've been scorched by UV light, ultraviolet light.
So it's like they went into like a tanning salon and just was like, bake me,
baby.
Yeah, and so what that means in a non-tanning salon kind of way is that, thank you, is that the ozone layer basically got a big hole in it and was letting all this light. Something weird was going on with the ozone layer, letting all this UV light in, scorching these spores. Now, volcanism and global warming can actually cause ozone layers to deplete.
And aerosols.
Hairspray, looking at you.
Hairspray.
Yeah.
I don't have any hairspray in.
But these spores, though, they may have used hairspray. Who knows? However, though, there's not a lot of evidence that points to volcanism and global warming as depleting the ozone layer at the time. And so what they think happened, or what some astronomers think happened, was that a supernova that was 65 light years away went boom.
Close.
That's close.
Yeah. And what it did was, it's not close enough to like wipe out life on Earth, but it is close enough to impact the ozone layer. Because when these supernovas go boom, when these stars go boom, what happens is they send out a lot of ultraviolet light, X-rays and gamma rays in all directions.
Yeah, the high energy that's like
high energy light. But they also send out a lot of cosmic rays, basically. So charged particles. They send out a lot of charged particles that go out, and it impacts literally and figuratively, the ozone layer of the Earth, depletes it, and these ultraviolet light, X-rays and gamma rays hit you, change your DNA, and 75% of life.
Not in the good way. Not in the good way, Liz. Not in the good way.
But maybe that's how we became vampires.
Maybe so.
Exactly.
And
rays.
So what the astronomers are telling people to do, scientists to do, is to look for plutonium-244 and samarium-146, because they don't naturally occur on Earth, and so they would be from
aliens.
So if you happen to find some samarium-146 on your daily walks, you know it came from then.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. So, but that's not the only time this has happened.
Oh.
In Earth's history.
I mean, what's the rate of supernovae, Brandon?
It's supposed to be, once or twice a century in the galaxy. You know, it's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
My favorite thing.
Yeah.
I got excited about it.
So, 2 million years ago, they think this happened also 2 million years ago and between 5 and 8 million years ago. So that is really recent. That is really recent. And so what scientists have done is they've noticed a lot of like iron 80. I'm going to lose my mustache, by the way.
It's
fine.
We have a rule for that. Keep going.
So they've noticed a lot of iron 80 in like ocean sediment and stuff like that. And so iron 80 has a half-life of something like 2.5 million years.
That's a long half-life.
And so any iron 80 from when Earth formed would be long gone at this point. So if they're seeing it in rock strata that's 2 million years old, and then 5 to 8, then it had to come from space. It had to come from a supernova. Now, there weren't mass extinctions 2 million years ago, and between 5 and 8 million years ago, these teeth cannot wait to come out. But what they saw was increased extinction rates. And so they think it's related to the supernovae that occurred. Now, so the question is, how far does supernova have to be to actually, kill life on Earth? To be in the kill zone, kind of like we are with Yellowstone. And they originally thought 25 light years away.
Yeah.
Pretty close. There's no stars that are going to go boom. That's 25 light years away. But recent thoughts and recent studies have expanded out to 50 light years.
Okay.
So we'll just say 50 light years. The good news is the closest star that is going to go boom is 642 light years away.
Betelgeuse?
That is Betelgeuse.
We so hope it does.
Yes. Like every day I go out.
Every day we hope.
Today's the day.
Every time I
Still
see
there.
Orion, I'm just like, you can do it, buddy. Go boom.
Yeah, supernovae. I mean, we don't think about, the stars killing us, but because they're so far away.
We do often.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, so it's I like the idea of supernovae. That's pretty spooky. It's actually horrifying.
Spectacular, fun death.
Leia wants to know so
I
bad.
can go up by a supernova.
Leia just had a hunting us look. Now, Brandon, you have another.
Yes, ma'am.
Spooky, scary way the universe could kill us, or kill something.
Yeah. This is interstellar predation.
Predation. Just the word predation.
Predation, right? That's. Yeah. Anyway, I had the joke I was trying to formulate, but it didn't quite get there, so I had to drop it.
It's okay.
So we're going to go back in time a little bit here. Not as far as 65 million years or 5 million years. We're just going to go to 1950.
Oh, all right.
We're just going to 1950s. Because there was a nice little dinner happening. Yes, it's a good amount of time now. So there was a dinner going on in Los Alamos. And that's, of course, where they had the Manhattan Project and everything like that. Among these people in this dinner table was Enrico Fermi. And it sounds a familiar name.
Fermi
and
Labs.
during this... Yeah, also that. And so he asked the question in this dinner conversation, where is everyone in space? Why are we not seeing more people, more species, more aliens, more civilizations, more anything out there? And that, of course, leads to the idea of Fermi's paradox. If there are so many life forms out there, why can we not see them? And that's, of course, one inspiration for the famous Drake equation.
Ah, yes.
And Frank Drake, may he also rest in peace, passed about a month ago now.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was recently.
I thought he was long dead.
Oh no,
I could have sworn I said something to you. I'm like, Drake
I sent
died.
a message. I sent a message to you guys.
I don't. All right.
And you don't read my messages? Like I don't listen to you? I know how it feels now. And fun fact, Frank Drake's daughter, Nadia Drake, she's on that NASA committee to explore UFOs with NASA.
Appropriate.
Let it be known, Brandon, I do read your text messages.
Oh, damn.
He reads them, but then I'm the one that responds because he reads them and doesn't respond, and then I am like...
That is true,
or
but
like
I do
Liz
read them.
respond on Mike's phone, and it gets kind of confusing after a while.
That only happens occasionally.
But in any case, this Drake equation, what it does is it takes a number of inputs, like for example, number of stars, number of planets around stars in the galaxy, number of planets may have life, yada yada yada, and it shoots out the number of how many civilizations should be out there. And depending on the numbers you put in, conservatively, it's like 5 to 15 million in the galaxy alone.
Still a lot
That's a lot.
in this galaxy.
It's quite a bit. So if there are so many civilizations out there, where is everyone? And so that's where we have a couple of different theories. Theory number one, there just isn't anyone.
Is there anybody out there?
Yeah,
No.
it's okay. That solves that Pink Floyd question. But maybe, for example, it's too early in the cosmos for life to form with the proper star generation we currently have. Because earlier stars wouldn't have had, and the earlier stars and the planets around them wouldn't have had the proper, elements, for example, to create life. And now we're just, in generation 3 stars, I want to say. And so now we're able to actually form the elements. So we are one of the first civilizations to actually occur in the cosmos, in the galaxy, which is kind of a cool fact.
Well, it's going to happen somewhere.
We're the first beings.
Yeah.
And what are we
And
doing
we're
with
going to
it?
be
We're
one
setting
of
a
the first ones to kill
terrible
ourselves.
precedent.
Terrible precedents.
So we may kill ourselves, which is what the Great Filter is. So the Great Filter is this idea that there are a number of steps along the evolutionary chain where life can die out. So, for example, creating life in the first place, single-celled organisms. Maybe multi-celled organisms is a great filter. Maybe creating technology that can kill each other is a great filter. Or creating interstellar travel is a great filter.
Global warming.
Exactly. That's where we're at right now with nuclear weapons and global warming. We may kill ourselves before we can get to the next filter of interstellar travel, which again may be another filter.
Okay.
Another theory exists, but they don't contact us for ethical or moral reasons. So it's like a zoo theory that we are kept off in the distance alone because we're not quite ready.
We're not ready. They're like, they're not ready.
So in my mind, I've
They're
called
not
this
ready for this jelly.
Yeah. So in my mind, I've called this the Federation Conservation, which is the same idea as the oh my God, I forgot the phrase. The Prime Directive.
The Prime Directive. Okay.
The Prime Directive that you don't contact civilizations before they are ready. So
Yeah.
maybe that's what's going on here as well.
Very possible.
The other theory is that they exist, but they're so far advanced that they don't consider us anything, and we can't realize what they are.
Are we like ants?
Yes, we're like ants. And like, what's the point of trying to talk to an ant since they're so stupid?
Right. But ants did make air conditioning way before we did, so
Also true.
you know.
Now, where interstellar predation comes in is the next theory, is that they exist, but the vast majority are hiding. Ooh.
Where are they hiding? In the dryer? Are they hiding in the dryer?
They were the socks. With the lost socks, yes.
The
that's where
lost
they're at.
socks.
This is the lost socks theory.
Okay.
So the idea here is that there are civilizations abound in the galaxy, but because they are still living, they have learned not to advertise themselves to the galaxy because they understand there is some greater power out there, some greater civilization that can just destroy them, can eat them up.
They're isolationist.
They're isolationists, yeah. They're like Japan in the 1800s or America
Or
before them
us.
as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they may be hiding because they understand that neighbors, for example, had advertised themselves, and this other great power came in and extinguished them before they could become a threat to the great power. And this kind of speaks to the idea called a dark forest theory.
Ooh.
So the idea here is that the universe itself is like a dark forest, and that every civilization is an armed hunter stalking through trees like a ghost. So they are looking through the galaxy because they understand that there are great powers out there. So the moment they see something, whether it's moving, whether it's a threat, whether it's not a threat, whether it's a small chipmunk or a great tiger, they're going to kill it because they do not know its powers.
Sounds like America.
There's a bear in the woods. So yeah, that's the idea is that other civilizations, they do not advertise themselves because they are afraid of a greater civilization coming in and destroying them. So when we look at the galaxies, we look at all these stars and planets and see nothing. It's not that we see nothing, it's that they're so good at hiding to save their own hides that we don't see them. And here we are like a bunch of nincompoops throwing ourselves out there in the galaxy saying, come and get us.
We
And
got,
that's what,
look at our record with here's what we look like,
Right.
here's where we're located.
which even if they are friendly civilizations, they come contact us. Oh no, there's a disease. There's a bacteria that wipes us all out instantly. So it's still better not to reach out than it is to reach out, which is what's one of the things Stephen Hawking was saying before he passed away. And
Wow.
they can say, well, sure, it hasn't happened yet. We've been putting out signals for decades. That's true. But considering the scale of the galaxy, they may have already heard us from when we first put out signals 80 years ago, and they may be on their way right now.
Ooh.
Or maybe they won't get those signals in 1,000 years, and then they'll come by.
Right, right.
But this is our Independence Day, right? As we defeat the aliens.
Someone go punch Will Smith in the face.
Oh, wow, I never made that connection. Welcome to Earth. Yes.
Motherfucker.
So yes, that is interstellar predation, is that there's an idea that there's a greater predator out there in the galaxy, which is why our galaxy is so quiet. And maybe the other galaxies may have Star Wars, for example, where they all live together mostly in harmony, or Star Trek, where they have federations, bringing everyone together. But our galaxy has a great predator. and we all
Maybe
stay quiet.
it's the predator. The predator.
But is the predator the great predator? Because it wasn't the whole... Isn't alien technically bad? I don't know. I don't know that. if
No,
that was-
look, xenomorphs are superior to predator because even though predator, because xenomorphs they're basically they're more instinctual. Predator is a little bit more humanity based. So the xenomorphs are more terrifying. Anyway,
So
Sounds like a
if
hangover.
we had Xenomorphs versus the Power Rangers, who would win?
Xenomorphs, 100%.
Xenomorphs.
Oh, I
Power
so
Rangers
disagree.
can't.
I so
I know.
disagree.
You know what?
Power Rangers were all looking the
I
fucking
think this
egg.
is great hangover conversation
Yes.
at this point.
All right, so basically, at the end of the day, the universe and space is terrifying, out to kill you, sights unseen, threats unseen, but beautiful to look at. So go
Exactly.
outside at night and just look at the night sky. Look for those constellations,
And-
look for those
and
stars, look
adm-
for the planets.
And admire the silence of civilizations as they hide from the great predator.
On that note, thanks for joining us, everyone, for Cosmos Cosmos. You can follow us on
All the
Twitter at
things.
Drinking Cosmos and everywhere else, Cosmos with Cosmos. And if you're with us here on YouTube as we record live, join us for the Hangover with Cosmos with Cosmos. Also, check out The Shot with Cosmos.
Love The Shot.
Where we do little shot-sized samplings of fun astronomy topics. But for now, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Where we're going to talk about antimatter.
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 It's matter, but it's anti.
It's the
And then
punks.
after that, we're gonna talk about Uncle Mather.
An anti. I get it. I got it. As soon
All
as I
right.
said it.
Cheers, everybody.
We'll see
you in 2
ya.
weeks.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. And for those with us now live, that our stream seems to be fairly stable, we will be right back for the Hangover.
as we make it so. Oh God, you know.
He's looking at houses while we make
I'm
it so.
looking at
People.
houses. We should. I need to stop looking at houses outside of our price
Stop
range,
looking at
but
houses
it's
outside of
so
our
hard
price
to do.
range.
It's so hard
Oh
to.
my God.
Oh shit! Where did my hair go?
Oh my God, Einstein!
I still got teeth.
You gotta drink more blood.
I need to drink more blood. My
Ah.
hair just fell. Oh, all right. I have to step away.
Oh no. Oh yeah, we came back at
let me
the
know.
wrong time.
Tell Mike to let me know.
All right. Mike has been pulled away from a work call because, you know, planetariums are still open on the weekend, and apparently there's something happening with the planetarium that's an emergency issue. So 2 out of 3 of us work for that planetarium company that deals with the issues. So me and Brandon will just hang out and see what's going on.
Until I get called in.
Until Brandon gets... You shouldn't get... You are... I mean, God, get a break, man.
What are we talking about, Liz?
I don't know,
What are we doing here?
man. Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about during the hangover?
What's that?
I wanted to maybe tell our own personal spooky tales that we've had, planetarium-wise or otherwise. I know Brandon has one that I can think of, such as What's Behind You. That's
Oh, I forgot about that one. That was not the one I was thinking about.
God, that wasn't the one you were thinking about?
No, it's even better. That was a good story, though. That was good.
That's a good story. So just for a little bit of, I should say, welcome to the Hangover, everyone, with Cosmos.
Welcome.
With Cosmos. Oh, Jack has a good tip. His realtor said, look at houses outside of your price range so you can get ideas for upgrades you want to do to your home. Oh, yeah, Jack, I have all the ideas on the upgrades that I would want or need in the
I need a spiral staircase inside of a personal library, and then I need a ladder that will, you can wheel it so I can be like Belle from Beauty and the Beast, of course, and wheel myself across the library. That's all I want in my life. That's all I want in my life.
Yeah. Okay, so Jack brings... My mom says Haunted Planetarium, and Jack brings up the Titanic exhibit. So
the Titanic exhibit. Liz, take it away.
Well, no. I think we might need to wait for Mike to come back.
Okay, yeah, Mike can tell
for
the
that one,
Titanic
because he
story.
can tell it better, because we did Arizona Science Center when we were there. Well, before I was there, apparently Arizona Science Center had the Titanic exhibit twice, and the first time they had like a really good one where they had like 3 levels, and each level
that's the one I went to when I was like
classes.
9 years old.
Okay, and so there are stories related with that one. When I was in Arizona, actually, funny side story. I moved to Arizona in 2006, and shortly after I moved there, they ended up having a Titanic exhibit, and I'm a big Titanic buff. And I was like, I gotta go check out this exhibit, and that's when I first discovered that there was a planetarium there, and it made me go back to see a planetarium show, and then I eventually applied to work at that planetarium.
Who gave you a show?
Mike gave the show to me, my sister, and my ex-husband at the time. So
yeah, I remember you being in that
and
show.
he remembers me being in that show. So, but we'll let Mike handle the actual the good stories from the first initial Titanic exhibit. But are you good? Are you back? Are you?
We set? We good?
Yeah, I'll text Brandon here shortly. So,
is it a light issue by chance?
Is it a what?
A light.
A light issue?
LITE issue.
Federico. Federico's here.
Oh. Oh no.
Yeah.
Wait. I reversed that comment.
Anyway, so
Okay.
But yes, it is a light issue. But it's our fault.
Oh, okay.
Hey, all right. I
there
can
we
deal.
go.
I can deal
All
with
right.
that. I can deal with that.
All right.
Okay, so we're talking.
So I was gonna talk. I said we'll talk about our spooky planetarium stories. So, but Mike had said no fair. You had the Titanic exhibit. So why don't you go in and talk about the stories that came with that Titanic exhibit?
Mike
like Eric
has
Winkelmann's
said no
story.
fair. You have Titanic.
Jack said that.
There you go.
Sorry, Jack.
We had it twice.
Yeah, I said that. But with Joe and Eric's stories of the Titanic.
Yeah, so I do want to say that the Titanic, the first time,
Yes.
really and truly, was one of the best exhibits that we have ever had. It was just an incredible use of space.
I wish I could have seen it.
It was awesome.
It really was. It was. They utilized all 3 floors of the Science Center, and there was definite, like, as you went down towards the first floor, you came in on the 3rd floor, which is where first class was, the grand staircase, all of that. And as you descend down into the Science Center, down towards the first floor, you're going deeper into the boat. The sounds of the engines got louder. They actually made it warmer. It was
changed,
so well done. And when, like, we would produce shows in the planetarium, it was always pay attention to the small details. You live and die by the small details. And that was so incredible, the attention to details that they did. It was phenomenal. We won't talk about the second time, but the first time was just absolutely phenomenal.
Was when I went to the second time. I died.
So,
let's see. When did that first one come by? What year do you think?
Oh, geez. Oh God, was it before? I can't remember. I cannot remember, but it was early on in the new Science Center. So
right, I think so. I remember going there. I think I may have been around 11 to 12.
All right, so early 2000s.
Yeah.
I thought it might have been early 2000s when I did it, but so we had the Planetarium and we had the IMAX. The 2 theaters we had at Arizona Science Center, and the guy that ran the
IMAX.
I don't know what that says. Oh, so I guess we're paused. It says be right back.
Oh wait, no, I think I'm being dumb. Live. Hey, now
Okay.
I fix things on my user error.
Okay.
Oh shit! Did I just I fucked up Brandon's screen. There
For
we
the
go.
best. Honestly,
All
it's for the best.
There we go. All right, continue.
All right. So, am I good?
Yeah.
Okay. So we had a guy run the IMAX. His name was Eric. And Eric one night was putting together a film. This was after the first run of Titanic. And so we would get these IMAX films. They would come in and these big boxes on platters, and he would have to literally splice them together.
Actual film.
With actual film.
Okay.
And basically there's tape and all this kind of stuff. There's a way you do it. And so we don't want to do it during the day because we're running shows, and you kind of need light in the booth, theater booth, to actually do this. And so he is staying late to do this. This is 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. He's doing this, and he hears little girls laughing and running down the hall, and so he literally opens the door and looks out. Of course, there's no girls. There's no little girls that are
Running
5 to 10 years old.
at 2 in the morning, and
He's thinking like maybe there was a camp or something. Someone stayed over, something like that.
There were no camps going on, and so he is recounting this story to our basically he's the head of the building
facilities.
His name is Joe.
Joe.
I love Joe.
And literally, Joe just goes, "So, you heard him too," and that was it.
I would be freaked. I'd be like,
I love Joe.
So you heard him too. But we're gonna fast forward now a few years. Titanic comes back. Arizona Science Center wants the attendance, and so Titanic comes back for its second run. And when Titanic left the second time, apparently the girls went with it. At the Science Center, they didn't hear the girls anymore. Running down the halls, laughing and giggling at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Love it.
Creepy.
Love it.
I mean, your mind is automatically playing tricks with you when you're in that, because we've all been in the Science Center after hours, where any kind of museum after hours gets real creepy.
Right,
you get
but
that
but
creepy feeling.
but I will say, since then I've been in many museums after hours, and nobody has seen that except for me. It's never been that creepy.
Oh, okay, there you go. Then Brandon, why don't you tell us your creepy story you had?
Yeah, this is creepy.
So the one you had mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So working in the planetarium, nice big one. We've all heard noises, things that sound like footsteps, and you get kind of the feeling when you walk in there and turn the system on, like your hair kind of turns up on your skin. It doesn't feel quite right.
I would always run in to turn the lights on. Like, I'm not dilly-dallying.
Yeah. And again, I've been to many others, but that's the only one that felt like that. So anyway, so you always have that feeling in the back of your head, and you always hear footsteps once in a while during a show. That's weird. So one of the mornings I came in, I had that feeling, and this is kind of weird. I heard the footsteps again during setup. Okay, whatever. It happens once in a while. So I had that in the back of my mind. And we're doing a show called Treehouse Adventures. And it's all about, what the clouds look like, and what are some fun stories about the stars, and can you see the ice cream cone and the stars, and it's great fun. And so I'm giving this show to just a single family. It's mom and dad and a little girl. And so after we play a little show about, how did Hawaii get its shape, for example, the little girl raises her hand, and it's dark at this point because I just had the stars up, and I go, yeah, what's your question? And she goes, what's standing behind you? At this point, I do not look behind me. I just go, oh, it's just shadows. Who's ready for the next movie? Click, and I just run away.
Oh my god, that's a pretty creepy one. That's a good one. I mean, I've heard footsteps
on the catwalk.
On the catwalk behind the dome. You can hear that clang, and then one that was told to us by a coworker, Lena, she had gone up to the console, which is where the computer is, and where the manual controls are, which is behind in our dome.
Where the magic happens.
Yeah, it's behind the seating, which was broken up into like an upper section. Then there's a platform, and then there was a lower section, and then your kind of base stage area. And we generally presenting shows, we would always be on that middle platform primarily. But then there wasn't a show going on. She had walked up towards the console, or she was standing outside of the console, and she heard just like a British little kid say hello, like right next to her, like in her ear. And Lena and us all, we're very skeptical, we're very scientific, we don't believe in ghosts, but she ran the fuck out of the planetarium into our planetarium office, and then told us the story of what she just heard.
Ask us?
Yeah, she was like, was anybody in the dome? Was anybody?
Yeah.
And we're like, no, we're here in the office. And she was like, I just, as clear as day, heard a voice right next to me say, hello. And it freaked her the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah, when we first opened in the new Arizona Science Center, there were two. There was what we called the storefront, and in '97 they opened a big concrete monstrosity. But the concrete representation of Arizona. But yeah, I mean, you would be given a show, and you would hear what sounded like people walking on the catwalk. Which is behind the dome. It's how you access platform. All. It's metal. It's how you access all the projectors that we had. And there were times where you just get to a part of the show where you can start the show. And I mean, I walked the catwalk to make sure that there really was nobody back there.
I chased it once. I remember chasing the footsteps and nothing. Because if it was just temperature fluctuations, it would happen in a single spot typically, but it would happen around the dome, and it's just the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And there was a creepy hallway.
The creepy hallway.
The creepy hallway.
Behind the dome. So the
To
way
nowhere. To
yeah,
nowhere.
the way that so it was like there was concrete everywhere, concrete walls, what have you, and going behind the dome, there was one section you get to, and there was this little hallway that was just encased and went to nowhere, and it pitch black. There was no lighting, and so it was just really terrifying because your mind could go so many different directions with it,
Right.
because it was like, why
Yes, why is the
was this
question.
built here?
Yeah.
Because
Didn't that make you go back there though?
that was like an initiation
Yeah,
thing of
I
being
think
hired in
you
the
guys
dome.
go
It's like
by.
eventually it was like you took us everybody back to the creepy
Yep,
hallway.
I think Liz did that to me.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
it's
Yep.
like a thing. Like, all right, time to go check out the creepy
And
hallway
it's just it's a hallway to nowhere.
to nowhere.
And if they had just continued it going, probably like 5 more feet, it would have ended up on the other side of the dome, and you could have actually
Yeah,
come out.
but it just goes nowhere.
It's nowhere. And then there's this pipe that just kind
There's
of
2 pipes. There's 2
juts
pipes.
out. Yeah, you have to like duck under them.
yeah, you
and,
got to duck under them. And it's,
yeah, like no one would find you back there.
Oh God, no.
No.
It is Edgar Allan Poe. You could do the
It's a
cast
Telltale
of,
Heart-esque, yeah.
yeah. You could just wall somebody up there, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody would ever know.
Yeah. Jack said, so Jack tells a story. He says King Planetarium had a spooky moment in that they could hear someone walking around under the planetarium following the aisles, but there not a basement under the planetarium.
Yep.
Where were those footsteps coming from?
I mean, it's. Go ahead.
Oh, no, almost every planetarium has a ghost. Almost everyone has some kind of story like that. So you think it's sort of just temperature fluctuations and things heating up, the wind changes. But we all understand that. And we are all, again, planetarium people, scientific-minded people. So we say we don't believe in ghosts. ... But
But
we've all had experiences with ghosts.
I want to believe.
Yeah. So Liz and I are watching this thing. What is it called? 28 Days.
28 Days Haunted on Netflix.
28
It
Days
just came
Haunted.
out.
Oh my God, it's such a rabbit hole. It is such a rabbit hole. You go
Bullshit,
down it, and we're just like, from a science point of view, just critiquing it. But
Well, wait a minute.
you bring those critiques into our planetariums, and then it's just. You want some of mine?
Yeah, why haven't you drinking yours?
I think it's the teeth.
It's a straw.
I know, right? I just feel like it's all gonna just come out.
Like dentures.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, but we never like with Argos. We never did those critiques.
I mean,
at
look,
all.
look. I have been watching.
I chased it down. I did my best.
I would not. I would come in the dome in the morning, and I would run up the stairs to the computer room, or to the console. I'd immediately turn lights on or turn the computers on, whatever was first. I can't remember. And I would just get some form of lighting in there, even though I was like, "There's nothing here," but
Yeah, it's like Luigi's Mansion.
it just freaks you out. You just want to run. You just gotta go.
Yeah.
But fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I've been watching horror movies since I was like 6 years old. Thank you, Mom. And I'm not saying this in a bad way because I really appreciate the leeway
it's
you
really
gave
parenting
me
done right in a
with
way.
watching what I wanted to. We'd go to Video One. This is pre-Blockbuster.
I had Video
One.
Update. Nice.
Oh, yeah, we had Video One. I can remember the exact location. It was in Alamo. It's now a Starbucks. And they had those giant lollipops of different flavors. Anyway, so I would go to, like, the normal section and get, like, the Care Bears and the My Little Ponies. But then I would go to the horror section
As one does.
and look at the horror section. And so I've been introduced to a range of horror movies, from Candyman to the Halloweens and the Krugers and... Last House on the Left, which is actually disappointing to me personally. But all these
disappointing?
Last House on the Left.
Oh.
And all these horror movies. However, the downside of it is, even though I am a rational, logical person of scientific mind, I am scared of the dark. because as soon as like I'm in a dark room with nobody else around me, my mind immediately starts just playing tricks and things. Like I remember when I was little and I'd be in my room and I'd always have my door open, and there was this long, I say long, it wasn't that long, but a hallway out of my room, there was a bathroom and another bedroom, and then it wrapped around into like a living room, dining room area. But I would like imagine like ghosts that were like that, and like I could see them like coming down the hallway, even though there wasn't anything there. So my mind has a vivid imagination that plays massive tricks on me. And so I get scared of the dark, and I need to actually sleep with some form of nightlight, or if I'm by myself. Do our drinking rules count in the hangover?
Take a drink.
I don't know what they're barking at. My wrapping paper for Christmas came yesterday.
It's the twins.
As long as I didn't end up in bed with mom in the middle of the night. I was a nightmare child trying to go to bed at night. But anyway, so I still have those kind of like, even though I know there's like if you try to say Candyman 3 times, I'm gonna be like, please stop at the second one.
Candyman?
Stop at the second one. Katie knows that hallway does things at night. That hallway, it was an old house. It got creaky floors.
Hey, you know what?
So what? Oh, go ahead.
You don't have to worry about it now.
I don't have to worry about it now.
So one of the things I always wanted to do. So another coworker we had, Linda, who was fantastic and awesome.
Oh my God, Linda.
She told me a story that her brothers played on her when she was younger, and they always wanted to do in Planetarium. So when the house was dark, she would get in thinking she's the only one in there, and the brothers had put their hand over the light switch. So she would go to flip the light switch on and feel their hands.
Oh God.
And I so wanted to do that to Liz.
Oh, I would die. I would die. My mom said Jordy, their one of their Australian shepherds, just got up looking for our dogs. Oh, don't worry, Jordy. We'll be there in about a month. For 2 weeks. I don't think I told my parents we're staying for 2 weeks.
Oh, well, you just did.
Hey, Mom.
First you told me.
We're staying for 2 weeks in Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Hey, but Christmas might be longer.
I don't need a house sit this time around?
You don't need a house sit.
No.
Now that we can take Winter with us.
Yes. Winter and I had a great time last year for Thanksgiving.
I mean, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you kept Winter company. Anyway, so...
Yeah, I mean, planetariums, there's so much crazy stuff.
I asked Mike yesterday. We were watching the horror, the little like paranormal activity people, be locked up in their haunted houses and do their shit. And I asked Mike, I was like, well, what particles of matter would ghosts be made of? Because they have to be made of some form of matter. And his response was simply ghostons. Which then Brandon, once I texted him that, his response was ectotrons. And I was like, that's also a good response.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's like if for there to be ghosts, there has to be matter that they would have to be made out of.
And if there were ghosts, for example, space ghosts, how would they propel themselves? Because I mean,
I know they got to go coast to coast.
They would have to do some kind of weird. Nice. They had to do some kind of weird interdimensional energy, because you can't just propel yourself randomly in space without having energy behind you.
That's why people bring in the extra energy stuff. They had like a little static electricity generator thing.
Yeah, but there's energy everywhere.
Right.
I mean, energy from the sun.
Then you would think they would be more active during the daytime, because that's when there would be the most radiation.
Well, maybe during the daytime they're recharging the ghost batteries.
Yeah, so they come out at night. Yeah. I mean, they always only
come out
deal with these like ghosts
mostly.
at nighttime.
At night, mostly.
I don't know. I really just want to ask these guys these questions, and it's and I wouldn't be trying to be an ass to them. It just really doesn't make sense. But
Only
then
like
they're gonna
down.
get all like bent out of shape, and like. oh, you're being mean, and it's like, no, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from.
There was one in one of the things we were watching where somebody had asked, like, they're like, what is the last name? Or trying to get a last name, or can you tell us, have you ever gotten a last name? And he was like, well, last names are really hard to get, blah blah blah. I was like, that's convenient, because it can be fact checked, really, and you can't make up something that.
Yeah, and so, I mean, if you're going to get all bent out of shape because somebody's asking you questions, that just means that, that you're just built on a house of lies anyway.
Yeah. Jack says phantoms are made of phantons.
Don't you want to, Fanta?
Phantons. My mom says dimensions are thinner at night.
Okay.
I don't know, but why?
It's dark.
But why? And mirrors.
Yeah,
how do they work?
Mirrors or portals.
But how can mirrors be real if our eyes aren't real?
Right, if you were invisible, like the Invisible Man, you would have to be blind.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, there would be two black dots that just move.
That's creepy.
And so, because that's where your eyes are absorbing the light, and so you would see, I would see two black dots that just move around. So the Invisible Man is blind.
Jack says, note to self: weigh myself at night.
That's the answer.
That's good.
Next time I go to the doctor, which is probably going to be this week, it's just going to be like, hey, I need to be measured at night. I reject what this scale is saying because you're not measuring me at night.
Your teeth stand out so much more than my teeth do.
What's that?
Like your
teeth. Because yours look natural. You're just a natural vampire.
I'm a natural vampire.
Mine are, yeah.
I mean, you have small teeth anyway, so I think that
I have small teeth.
Yeah, you have small teeth.
See, if I wore those, no one could tell the difference.
This is the first I've heard of this. What do you mean I have small teeth?
You have smaller teeth. I don't know.
Wow.
Let's compare our teeth.
Y'all can just compare your teeth to mine and realize you both have small teeth.
I mean, Brandon has big teeth.
It's the riddle curse, yes.
The riddle curse.
We all have very big teeth.
The curse
You're
of the
British.
riddles. No, they would look way worse if they were British.
That's true.
Well, that's why half my family are dentists.
I mean, that comes in handy. Anyway, all right. Any more Planetarium spooky stories, or any more spooky stories that you've had?
I don't know. I have about 2 hours worth of the Fermi paradox stuff ready to go because I thought that was the entire point of the episode, was each having one of those stories.
I
prepared for like 20 minutes worth of this.
Let's talk about the Fermi paradox. We already talked about the Fermi paradox.
A little bit, yeah. But the Fermi paradox is also a lie, in that Fermi never actually made that paradox.
Is it like the
turns
cake?
Out. The cake was also a lie.
So.
No, so when he talked about where is everybody, he wasn't talking about if there's so much light we should see it. He was actually talking about interstellar travel and basically saying it's not feasible. If it were, we would see everybody here.
That's a good point, actually.
You know who was responsible for the first nuclear meltdown? Fermi. Yeah.
Nice.
Up underneath the gymnasium at the University of Chicago. Got away from him.
It got away from him.
That tends to happen.
It got away from us, everybody.
Away from him. What do you want, Leia?
Jack, Brandon. Jack asks, did you have to have your wisdom teeth removed?
Yes, and they were so big they had to put me under. Because they tried just the regular shots, but they were too big and I felt everything. So they put me under to take them out.
Wisdom teeth do not exist in my mouth and never have.
Really?
That
explains a lot.
Oh, damn.
I'm also missing my 12-year molar on my bottom.
So you don't have any teeth.
Right? I actually had to get the molar above it removed because the molar would keep growing because there was nothing to stop it because that molar didn't exist. But so thanks, parents, for not giving me wisdom teeth.
You know what? I am perfect, my teeth, my wisdom teeth. I still got them.
You still have them?
That's
Very
how I'm
nice.
smart.
Cool.
Yeah, I still have my wisdom teeth.
I thought everybody had to get their wisdom teeth removed.
Nope.
So
I never got the ice cream.
I didn't get ice cream either. Another fun tooth story. So remember when M&M's had the big deal about the gray M&M, and you found it, you get like $1 million.
Oh yeah.
Vaguely.
Okay. Yeah. So my sister and I play the joke. We'd stick on the mallets, and eventually over time they would lose the color. Like, hey, we found it! Ha ha ha. So I was doing that, but I couldn't quite do it. Like, it always came out cracked. I had a tooth growing in the roof of my mouth.
In the roof of your mouth?
In the top roof of my mouth, they had a tooth growing in there, which we had to pull out. Which once they numbed everything, got loosened, they let me pull it out. So that was cool.
What is going on in your mouth?
That's why everybody in his family is dentists.
I also had surgery on my tongue, and I'll need jaw surgery very soon. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Wow. Okay, so Jack has his wisdom teeth too.
Oh, neat.
Hey,
That's interesting.
All right,
and so
Jack.
I guess my mom doesn't have wisdom teeth, and Katie only had one wisdom tooth. Did you have it pulled, Katie? I don't remember you having it pulled, but I had my canines actually. That's why I have these teeth now. They grew in instead, but I had
your
my
fangs.
I had
Yeah.
my canines, my baby canines pulled, and I remember I got the shots, which make you feel like you're just. Constantly. And I went on a play date with a friend. God, what was his name? Brant? I don't know. But then
That's not a real name.
Brant. But my parents were like, "Oh, she just had her teeth pulled," and so I remember just being fed like Jello and whipped cream. I was 8. Jello and whipped cream while we were hanging out, and we went to the pool, and I mean it was a fun day, even though I just had my canines pulled and my mouth was entirely numb.
Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hangover.
Okay.
I've never
Katie got
had
it
any of
pulled.
my teeth pulled.
No.
So
Yeah,
I've had
fine.
other shit
I'm not
happen,
a fan
but-
of the injection of anesthesia into your gums.
Yeah, it
That
doesn't work for me.
hurts.
Fun fact: the anesthesia
That's-
mouth doesn't really work.
That's
S-
weird.
So that's why I take really good care of my teeth, because the cavities, things like that, it just doesn't work. So I feel it all, and it's just pain.
Yeah.
Pain.
Oh God.
The craziest injection I've ever gotten is when I go get MRIs for my heart.
Mm-hmm.
They do. You're pulling this down. They will do. It's called an MRI with contrast. So what they do is they shoot you up with iodine.
This is the P one.
This is the P one,
Oh.
and it literally feels like it starts from the head, and it's like they smash an egg over you, a warm egg, and it just goes down. And when it gets down to your midsection, it really feels like you're peeing yourself. And it's just the weirdest thing. And you do have this conversation in your head. It's just like, all right, did I really just pee myself? I mean, I'm going to own it because I have to, walking out of here. But, and you know what? I might have that in a month.
Okay,
So it'll be interesting.
I have a slight story that relates to that, but not relates to that, but relates to that. So my grandpa on my dad's side, Papa Al, he would always do this egg smash thing on my head.
Oh, you told me about this, yeah.
Have I told this where he would go, and then he would go like this, like the egg smash, and then like do this little
Yeah.
thing down, and I don't know why or what it was from, but I always giggled, and it was also really, and I would like ask him to like do it. Yeah, it was like a weird thing. But
Yeah, it's
obviously
really a
not
weird thing.
medical.
And so if you ever get an MRI with contrast, that's what's going to happen.
Wait,
and
Katie
it's
had
really it's the medical version of the egg smash.
The medical egg smash
Yeah,
that I
and,
received as a child from my
and
grandpa.
so it's crazy.
Katie also had a gum graft. I don't remember the gum graft, Katie. Jeez.
A what?
A gum graft.
What is that?
She had her gums
Is
grafted.
that like a skin graft? They put like gum.
I guess so. Wait, I vaguely actually remember this, I think. I mean, yeah, I guess I didn't. I mean, I had that fucked up tooth that didn't have its opposite, so I had to eventually get that removed. But overall, I had the standard retainer.
I had a retainer, braces.
I had the mouth,
still-
the big mouth thing
Still
in
wear
5th
mine every
grade,
night.
where you had the
I
straps
never
that
had
go
the big
around your
mouth
head.
thing.
I had the thing that goes around your head, and you had to wear it at night.
I had to. Where
I
they
had
did
a
the mold.
retainer, and I had the braces and all that good stuff. Jack says his dad is. Why did this go into dentistry all of a sudden? Jack says his dentist wiggled a baby tooth for him at age 6, and he bit on his hand and refused to release it, and took 3 adults to detach him. I can just picture a baby Jack just like.
Oh my goodness. So my aunt, who's a hygienist, likes to tell the story. I was getting my teeth cleaned one time. I was 6 or 7. I don't know. I fell asleep, and so they just had to hold my mouth open as they went about it.
Just.
So
Yep.
I wish I could fall
piggyback
asleep, but people are always talking to you.
Yeah, to piggyback on Jack's story. So there was one time where I had cut myself, and I was gonna have to get a tetanus shot, and my parents, to their credit, they were like, "Okay, you're gonna have to get a tetanus shot." The whole time going. They are, and I really wish my mom was here to tell this story. But anyway, so you're going to get a tetanus shot. It's going to be real quick, but you have to get this shot because you cut yourself with metal. And so we don't want you to have a lockjaw. And even at the doctor's office, they're telling me this in the waiting room. And I go back, and the doctor's like, "Got to get a tetanus shot." And I was like, "What the fuck? What do you mean I gotta get a tetanus shot?"
And your parents are like,
And apparently, according to my mom, I got in a karate stance. And I was like, nope, you're not gonna do it. They had to have like 3 nurses restrain me.
I love it. I love it.
And my mom
my
was very apologetic to the nurses and all this kind of stuff.
I feel.
But it was like, what do you mean? I'm getting a shot.
I think I was, and Mom, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I was a fairly good patient in terms of doctor stuff. Because one, if I'm getting a shot or if I'm getting blood drawn, I don't think I ever freaked out about it. But I am the person that has to watch it happen. I can't look away. I have to see exactly what's going on. I remember like getting blood drawn and squeezing the tube, and I have to watch it happen. And like I would get like ingrown toenails like cut out all the time, and I'd have to watch that. And I don't know if I'm sure I've told the story before at some point. I know you guys have heard it in our personal lives, but when I was 3,
beautiful
there,
segue.
my mom,
Segue.
my mom's already there.
That was beautiful. I knew where you're going with it.
My parents, so we had an exercise bike that in the 80s, it was a Brio bike that was made stationary. So it had like the chains and everything like a real bike. And so I decided like, oh, what happens if I stick my finger in the chain and then spin the wheel? Well, you know what happens?
It gets cut off.
It cuts your finger off. As a 3-year-old, at least. So my here's a comparison. I don't know if this is. So my finger, you can see it's kind of crooked. And that's and so I cut. So I did the thing, and then I go over to my dad and I go, "I'm bleeding." I'm bleeding. I'm not freaking out. I'm just like, I'm bleeding. And my dad looks down and he starts freaking out.
And that makes you freak out.
And then my mom comes and she starts freaking out. So then I start freaking out because what they have seen that I don't realize as a 3-year-old is that the tip of my finger is gone, which they can't find. So they take me to my doctor, Dr. Cadis. Rest in peace,
Wait
Dr.
a minute.
Cadis.
We got to go back. They couldn't find your finger?
Well, no. I mean, they didn't. I don't know if they looked or what, but I mean, it wasn't found anyway.
We can get some clarification right now.
It wasn't found. I didn't have a tip of the finger that could be reattached. So I went to my pediatrician. They took me to my pediatrician, Dr. Cadis, who's the best pediatrician that's ever lived, and the only primary care physician I've ever had. Anyway,
you're an adult now, right?
I am adult. I don't have a primary care physician.
I remember my primary care physician is the only one I've ever had.
Yeah.
Dr. Kirsch, may he rest in peace.
Dr. K.
He was like a million years old when I had him.
Dr. Cadis ended up getting cancer and recently passed away. But and I ordered a bouquet of flowers that were sent to them, and lived in my neighborhood actually that I lived in growing up. They go, and he was like, "Oh, she's so young, it's gonna grow back." And so I remember there were like bandages, and there were like these iodine things that we'd have to do to it, and so it actually did grow back, just kind of like crooked and not completely there.
And we got an answer.
They didn't look, and there was blood everywhere. There you go. But I wasn't freaking out at first, and didn't really.
Yeah.
I was probably in shock and didn't really know like what it. I was 3 years old. So that was, and that is the most, probably the most major medical thing that's happened to me. I've never broken a bone so far.
You lead a nice life.
The only other thing that happened to me medically was when I took some. I used to get really bad ear infections. I had tubes put in my ears when I was little. And I'd have really bad ear infections growing up. I'm very familiar with amoxicillin. And I had I was in 5th grade, and I woke up in the middle of the night with my ears hurting. So my mom gave me some Tylenol with codeine. And then I went back to bed and woke up a little bit later, and I couldn't breathe. I had this pressure on my chest, and I remember it being really hard to breathe. So my mom was gonna take me to the emergency care or whatever in the middle of the night that it was, but I was really freaking out, and I don't know, at 5, I don't remember how much of it I was dramatizing or whatever, but I really the only thing I remember was I could inhale, but I couldn't fully exhale. I couldn't get the air out fully. And so she ended up calling 911, and 2 fire trucks and an ambulance show up. By the time they showed up, I could breathe again.
You felt fine.
I was pretty much okay, but they put the things in my nose, and I took an ambulance ride, and we went to the doctor, and they think that I had an allergic reaction to the codeine and the Tylenol, and then I had a minor ear infection that was beginning. And so to this day, even though it's not proven, but scientifically, to this day, I refuse to take any codeine.
Why chance it?
I'm not going to chance it because it was such, I remember the feeling of not being able to breathe. And so to this day, I put down codeine as an allergy on medicines, which means I'm shit out of luck for Vicodin. I can't get addicted to any of the good shit because
oh man,
it's like when I go to the doctor, they ask me, "Are you allergic to anything?" And I say bees. Not that the doctor has this nest of bees,
just a hive.
I just want to make sure. I'm like, okay, if you got bees, I'm allergic to them.
Don't use them. Don't use them.
I'm not up to date with the latest medical stuff. Maybe it involves bees, but I can't have bees. Can't
have those bees.
So no, I understand.
And I can't have that codeine, most likely.
Can't have bees or codeine.
Maybe.
That's great.
But other than my back being fucked up, then yeah, that's.
I have never had any medical issues.
Neither have I.
So.
You both are just riddled with.
See what you did there. I am so happy that I have not had any medical issues at all. I think
no, actually, my teeth. Yeah, doctors are amazed. They actually think I'm some kind of elf because I have no medical issues, and they think I'm going to live forever.
Nice. If only we could all live forever. Well, we're actually going to live forever because we're vampires now.
Yeah, but
You'll be dead forever.
I think I'm losing one of my teeth.
Are you losing one of your teeth?
Or something just happened with it.
I don't know what happened with it.
I'm getting some of the epoxy.
The epoxy's coming off? My teeth are sticking on actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, I hate my body right now. I hate it. My daughter has been written out of the will. Making me go to the doctor.
He doesn't listen to me to go back to the doctor, but... well, yeah, the slip disc in my back, that was an issue. that's the only other like consistent issue I've had is just because I did gymnastics when I was younger, and I did something that caused my disc to
did
slip.
Flips, landed.
I mean, I did a lot of that stuff. I don't know when it exactly occurred, but after I quit gymnastics, I was, I don't know, doing something, and my disc slipped, and the pain was so intense that I couldn't stand up straight. Like I'd have to limp, and like I was Quasimodo. And I went to an orthopedist, and they found that I had a slip disc, but because I was so young, I didn't need surgery, and it would most likely heal on my own, and I had to do physical therapy.
Just like the finger.
Just like the finger, it healed on its own, and so it ended up being fine mostly, but then. When I was in my early 20s, I went bowling, and I used a ball that was a little bit heavier than I should have. And over the course of the night, and the torquing that I did from, bowling the ball, it re-injured my slip disc, and I was again in the situation where I couldn't stand up straight. I'm going to community college in Glendale, Arizona, and I'm walking around campus just like limping, hunched over, and
like
just
Marie Curie.
Yes, in so much pain, but luckily not from uranium poisoning. And I go to an orthopedist, and they're like, "Yeah, you have a ruptured disc," which is actually common. There's a good chunk of people that actually have a ruptured disc and don't know it. The problem with my ruptured disc from when I was younger and in my early 20s was that it was pushing on my sciatic nerve and irritating my nerve. And so I had the pain that went all the way down my left leg. And so I ended up having to take Lyrica, which is for fibromyalgia, which reduces nerve inflammation. I took Lyrica and did physical therapy, and that pretty much helped it out there, but my back does still get kind of stiff.
Yeah, you won't even do like the back yoga.
There are some back exercises like when we do yoga that I won't do because I know that it's not like the upward facing dog, like really arching my back. I know it's gonna like trigger it and not gonna be good. And actually recently I need to, every now it acts up where I need to sleep with a body pillow so that I can kind of like sleep. Because normally I sleep kind of on my stomach, and that's not the best for it. And so I have to, it's been irritating.
And when are you going to the doctor?
I'm not going to go to the doctor.
That's not fair.
It's fine.
Okay.
I just got to sleep with a body pillow for a few nights, and then it's fine. I got to stretch it out. I got to do some fetus poses.
I am canceling my November appointment. My December appointment.
I gotta do fetus poses and
April appointment.
And some cat.
I mean, I might have to like cancel my
April
appointment.
Some cat cows.
But
I'm good.
I am gonna cancel my November.
Oh yeah, my when we went to Disneyland for my sister's 18th birthday, my back was really acting up, and so my mom went to like wherever and was like, hey, my daughter, she has a back issue and she's gone to the doctor and we really need a wheelchair, and she played it up enough where normally you have to pay for the wheelchair, but they gave it to her for free, and so we ended up getting in the front line at Disneyland because I had the wheelchair because of my back.
Working the system.
It was pretty nice. My back did hurt and could not handle the walking, but I mean, I could freely get out of the wheelchair.
Just fine.
Yeah. I know. My dad's Facebook photo is still with me in the wheelchair from that Disney.
You know what?
I need to see
this. You know what? I think we need to play some stuff up because Disney raised their prices.
They did raise their prices.
So I think we need to play some stuff up when we go there and whenever that is.
Anyway, this hangover became spooky to medical issues.
Yeah.
Our own personal medical issues.
I feel like my teeth are just like, whoop, they're just shooting out.
No, they're fine.
Okay,
They look fine.
Okay.
They look fine.
Okay. I for 2 hours, I have been sitting here going, when I pull these out, my teeth are going to come out with it.
Oh, you're going to lose your canines? Jack says, to mess with you, I could name my body pillow Matt, my personal back doctor.
Who is Matt?
I know he mistyped Mike.
Who is Matt?
I don't know. I'm gonna think of how many Matts I've known in my life.
There's one Matt.
What?
I've known one Matt. I can only remember one Matt. No. Wait, was his name Matt?
Matthew.
It might have been Matt. Oh no, I know two Matts. There was a Matt.
Matthew Broderick?
There was a Matt that I worked with at CwC. Well, it was a Matthew, not a Broderick.
There's a couple of Matthews at E&S, and they don't shorten their name to Matt.
Oh.
And I have to remember to call him Matthew.
That's like if you didn't shorten your name to Mike. You
what?
meant Michael?
Yeah, there's only two people call me Michael. Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
And that's
There's
it.
two people that called me Elizabeth. My mom and my dad, but sometimes they call me Liz, and then I go.
Yeah, I gotta. Oh God, if my mom were to call me Mike, I would be like, oh wait a minute, that's not right. What's going on?
Who are you? What alien has invaded your soul?
All right, so are we going to move on?
I didn't include famous Matts, Jack. It was just Matts that I've known personally. I can think of two.
Yeah, Matt Smith though I can't get used to that in
the new Game of Thrones.
Dragon whatever it is.
I mean, he has the face for it.
He does, but it's just.
I mean, I'm used to him as the doctor.
I can't get used to it.
Have you watched any of the new Game of Thrones, Brandon?
I watched 2 episodes. I didn't get into it. Like, I can take it or leave it. I can take it or leave it. And there's so much media out there. I don't need to focus on Game of Thrones media.
Yeah, I mean, we've enjoyed it. The time jumps were a little bit jarring because it wasn't like they explained it. It was just like you kind of had to figure out yourself it was a time jump.
I'm not a big fan of the time jumps.
But, I mean...
Love The Witcher, though. Love The Witcher. Speaking of time jumps.
The Witcher's...
There's not a new season out of that, is there?
Not yet.
No, okay. All right, so, all right. God, and if you've seen Rings of Power, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've enjoyed that.
And you know what? To be honest, Lower Decks. If you haven't watched
Lower Decks,
Star Trek Lower Decks,
check it out. It's awesome.
I'm gonna watch the next episode after this. I'm very excited about it.
We just watched the most recent episode. It's good stuff.
Knick Knack though is the best.
Knick Knack.
Knick Knack is the best.
Knick Knack.
Knapsack.
Knapsack.
Knick Knack. Knick Knack.
Knick Knack, paddywhack. Give a dog a bone.
Knick Knack.
All right.
Anyway, all right. This has been fun.
See us in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So Jack has to leave anyway. He's going to conveyor belt sushi with the bears. Oh, that's nice, Jack. Have fun with the bears. Tell the bears that we say hi and we send our love to all the bears.
Man, sushi is just the bare necessities.
There you go. Well, it says watch the peripheral.
Oh, watch the peripheral.
All right.
Yeah, have fun, Jack. And you have a great week as well. And 2 weeks, and we'll see everybody in a couple weeks.
We'll be talking about antimatter.
Antimatter.
The matter, but is anti.
The punks.
The punk of matter.
What's the matter with antimatter?
Wow. All right. Cheers, everybody.
We'll see everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Stay safe.
All right.
Adios.
The teeth are coming out.
Join us on all the things.
Why is it bad taste to wear a lay?
I don't know.
I'm still on that. I don't know why. Did I offend people? I don't know what I just did.
Bye, everybody.
I thought we were off.